Welcome to the Auditor of State Uniform Accounting Network Screencast Introduction to UAN. This screencast will give you a general overview of how to navigate through UAN and provide you with a sense of what features are available. We'll focus specifically on features that are common to most areas of UAN so that you'll be able to use them no matter what you're doing in the program. The first menu that opens when you log into UAN is the main menu. The main menu is made up of several components. These are modules, menu options, functions, and system utilities. Modules are the overall blocks of activities you will perform while using the application. These include accounting, payroll, inventory, and cemetery, plus the new general module, which is used for activities that do not relate to any single module, such as setting up vendors and payees, performing backups, and changing your password. In the new UAN, you can now have several modules open at once. The menu options separate the categories of functions in each module. The transactions, utilities, reports and statements, and maintenance menu options will always be displayed, though not all of these will be available for each module. Transactions are used to post transactions. Utilities are used for managing posted transactions. Reports and statements are used for creating reports of the data in UAN. And the maintenance menu is used for customizing UAN for your own use. The part of the screen displaying the modules and menu options is referred to as the main menu bar. This bar provides a simple, clear path to every function in UAN. Within each menu option is a set of one or more functions you will use to perform tasks in UAN. Functions are located on the left-hand column of the main menu. Only the functions associated with the selected module and menu option are displayed. For example, if you select Accounting, Transactions, the accounting transaction functions will be displayed. Clicking on a function typically opens the associated area in its individual tab. For example, the Accounting, Transactions, Purchase Order function opens the Purchase Orders area. Note that you can have no more than 10 areas and forms open at any given time. Below the Functions column are the Related Screens and Fax links. The Related Screens function provides you with links for easily accessing functions that are related to the area you currently have open, in this case the Purchase Orders area. Notice that it allows you quick access to vendors and payees, appropriation accounts, the purchase order utility, and other related functions. The fax links similarly give you easy access to related documentation and help files, such as the Screencast. The last component of the main menu is the System Utilities area. The System Utilities area consists of a calculator, a calendar, a background color utility, the Help button, and the Quit button. Areas are hubs that provide you with most of the actions you will be using throughout UAN. The functions we're outlining here apply to almost all areas and forms and will help you use UAN no matter what you're trying to do. As we mentioned in the previous chapter, you get to areas by selecting a module, a menu option, and then a function. Most areas open with a tab at the top to display their names and help you track which area you are working with. You can switch between areas just by clicking their tabs. Each area has several controls and features in common. Most areas will have several buttons, one or more filters, a set of search functions, a list of existing items, and occasionally extra features such as radio buttons. Most of the functions in an area concern creating, editing, deleting, or printing items in the list selection, so we'll start with looking at the list. The list shows any existing items available to be managed in each area. Lists are sorted into columns that describe characteristics of the items. In this case, such things as post date, payment type, and warrant number. You can sort items using these columns by clicking on the column header of your choice. If you see an up arrow in the column header, the list is being displayed in ascending order by that column. If there's a down arrow, the list is being displayed in descending order by that column. You can select an item by clicking on the checkbox associated with that item on the far left-hand side of the list. When a checkbox appears in the header of the checkbox column, selecting that checkbox will select all items in the list. Similarly, when the header checkbox is selected, unchecking it will clear all the item selections in the list. See the Tips and Tricks chapter of this screencast for more about selecting or clearing multiple items at once. Filters are displayed in the upper left-hand part of an area. They limit which items are displayed in the list. How a filter affects the list is given in the filter name. For example, in the payment utility area, there are status and type filters that limit which items are displayed by either or both the status and type columns. If you choose a status of outstanding and a type of warrant, only items that have both a status of outstanding and a type of warrant are displayed. While filters limit which groups of items are displayed, the search functions will look for specific information within the list items. The search functions are made up of the Search drop-down menu, the For field, the Search button, and the Reset button. The Search drop-down menu is for selecting which field of the item data you want to search. The For field lets you type in part or all of the information you want to find within the selected search field. The Search button starts the search. The Reset button clears out your old search to let you begin a new search. For example, in the payment utility, if you are looking for all posted payments to the electric company, you would choose Vendor Payee from the Search drop-down menu, type in Electric in the For field, and then click the Search button to view the results. Only items with the word Electric in their Vendor Payee name should appear in your list. To reset the list for another search, you would just click the Reset button. It is important to note that the search functions work in conjunction with the list filters. Only items that fit the selected filter criteria and the search criteria will be displayed in the item list. Most buttons are used to create new items, such as the Add button, or to manage existing items, such as most of these buttons below. You must select one or more items to use the buttons below a list, except the Close button, which just closes the area. Most buttons will open new forms that allow you to add or edit the contents of an item. Some buttons just contain a capital letter X. Those buttons close or delete the associated tab or entry. Note that should you have a large number of areas open, a pair of navigation arrows will appear in the upper right-hand portion of the area tabs to help you navigate between the areas. A typical form is divided into multiple sections and tabs, each of which may contain its own buttons, drop-down menus, calendar menus, fields, checkboxes, and even data entry grids. Normally, you can only have a single form open for adding or editing items for a particular area. For example, you can't create a new purchase order and edit an existing purchase order at the same time. However, you could have forms for creating a purchase order and a payment open at once, since they belong to two different areas. Forms have required, optional, and read-only elements. Required fields are presented in green, optional fields are in white, and read-only fields are the color of the background. To use any field, click within the field and enter your information, or in the case of drop-down menus and calendar menus, you may click on the associated arrow to choose an option from the list. In general, we encourage you to fill out as much information as you have available into forms. Much of the optional information can make searches, bank reconciliations, and audits much easier. Data entry grids are usually within a tab, and consist of a data entry line, the insert row arrow, the data grid, any entries that may have been entered into the grid, and occasionally checkboxes that modify how the data is entered, such as the Distribute Funds Equally checkbox. Entries can be removed by clicking their associated X button when available. A given tab may have more than one data entry grid. The type of entry to be input into that grid is listed in the upper left-hand corner of the grid. For example, purchase orders have detail and distribution data entry grids. Entries are the line item elements that make up items. For example, a receipt is a type of item, and the receipt distribution line items in that receipt are entries. Another example, a purchase order is a type of item, and the account code distributions in that purchase order are entries. You can edit entries by clicking directly on a field and typing in new information. Automatically populated fields, such as account name fields, cannot be edited directly. Some data entry grids do not allow certain fields to be edited, and changes to those entries must be made by deleting the incorrect entry and creating a replacement entry. Once you are done filling out a form, you'll click the Save button in the lower right-hand part of the form to record your information. If you click the Close button without saving, UAN will prompt you with a message asking if you want to save your work. Click Yes to automatically save your work and close the form, No to close the form without saving, or Cancel to continue working on the form. In this case, we will click Cancel and continue working on the form. Saving works this way throughout UAN. UAN will display error messages if there is a problem with your input data. If there are one or more errors, a message will appear in the lower left-hand part of the screen indicating that there are errors, and red exclamation marks will appear next to any field, menu, or button that is registering an error. If you move your mouse arrow over the exclamation mark, a message will appear giving you a brief description of the error. Forms with multiple tabs may sometimes have errors that you will not see at first because some of them occur on a tab that is not currently selected. Each time you attempt to save or post an item, the first tab with an error will be activated to make it easy to find the error. Note that occasionally the field registering the error may not be the field that must be changed to fix the error, such as a read-only field that displays the sum of other fields. When entering information into forms, you will find that you can move between fields, buttons, and so on with the Tab key as well as with the mouse. If you hold down the Shift key, pressing the Tab key will move you backward through the fields. Pressing the Escape key often clears anything that you've typed into a field or line, but have not yet moved to a list. If you've made a mistake halfway through typing in some data, try hitting the Escape key to clear the line and start over. If you don't know what a control is, put your mouse arrow over the top of it and wait a moment. Sometimes a yellow box will appear to prompt you with the name of the control. There are new keyboard commands for selecting and deselecting everything above or below your current selected entry. Pressing the Control and the U keys together selects everything from your current selection up. Pressing the Control, Shift, and U keys together deselects everything from your current selection and up. Similarly, pressing the Control and D keys together selects everything from your current selection down. Pressing the Control, Shift, and D keys together deselects everything from your current selection down. These up and down selections replace the F11 and F12 keys from the old UAN. Thank you for watching this screencast. We hope that this overview of UAN's organization, layout, and controls will make managing your entity's accounting practices easier and more effective. For further information, you may contact the UAN support line at 800-833-8261 or by email at uan_support@auditor.state.gov. www.oh.us.